I'm really enjoying the show. So I've seen 2 episodes so far. Really enjoying it. I was just interviewing Craig Fairbrass about it, and he said that they were giving you the scripts, not all in one go, but they were kind of giving you them to sort of trickle through. Do you quite enjoy that as an actor? Do you get to experience it almost as like like an audience member would, in that when that's the kind of process they take?
Yeah, I mean, it has its nightmarish qualities, of course, because then it's a bit like the actor's nightmare of not knowing what you're going to do next. But each time you get a script, there's something in it that surprises you and changes your mind about the character. And that is joyful, really. I mean, the only difficult bit is adjusting yourself to this new bit. But that's not difficult. That's part of the joy of our work. So you end up creating a character that's quite multi-layered without even trying, because you're just going with this is happening now this is happening. So you know, if you trust the process, it's brilliant. There were a couple of times where, of course, I went, what? How can I possibly do that? Why is he making that decision? Okay, I'll go with it. And then it turned out to be, you know, part of the plot, part of the story. Brilliant. But yeah, it was challenging in that it wasn't a linear character that had a beginning, middle, and an end that you could see from the very beginning.
This show just kind of takes ordinary people and puts them in this very extraordinary situation. What do you think it is about that tried and tested narrative device that audiences just find so captivating?
Yeah, I think the obvious thing is we relate to that person. No, I don't know what it would be like to be in Narnia. No, I don't know what it's going to be like to be, you know, part of a gangster's, you know, revenge story. But that's the joy, right, of watching somebody go, I don't know how to deal with this, and making decisions that you may or may not make. I mean, even just the taking of the cocaine. When I think about that, I would say 99% of the population would just go, 999, I found 2 dead people and a boatload of cocaine. I would say that is the sanest, most normal response to most people. And the fact that they both are in that desperate situation, which we can sort of imagine ourselves in, God, what would I do if that happened to me? And then suddenly this opportunity presents itself. I think we guiltily, even though none of us are drug dealers, you know, or dream about being, you know, drug barons, go, well, I mean, there were bad people who died. They're bad people who died, and they've just got it there. So is that okay? I think that's why we love it. It's because it goes, well, this is what I might do. And then all hell breaks loose. And I guess we go, well, I would never have done that.
I think that's the beauty of it, is you can kind of understand why they do take it, considering their situations they're in. But I wonder, does that really matter for you as an actor, to have the ability to find reason in a character's decision? Do you have to make sense of their motives and decisions, or can you happily play someone where you can't justify anything they do?
Well, I think Samuel's one of those characters that I would say is pretty unevolved as a person. Like, as in, it's not like he goes, oh, I'm going to learn a moral lesson from this terrible thing. He would just probably carry on regardless. I think I look at it as a series of events that you just deal with on your toes. And that means that he will make this, a character can make decisions that are irrational in that situation. I think it's harder when things are a bit more sort of, you know, traditional drama, where these are the usual things that would happen in this situation. It's hard then when left field things are introduced. Whereas there's something that sets itself up as this is a crazy world. Here it is. You sort of allow yourself not just to justify, but to reasonably see how that decision could have been made. You could well have chosen to take the cocaine at that point. You could well have chosen to lie to your family about it. And you could well have chosen a criminal who you know to help you shift it. All of those things seem a bit more normal in a world that's slightly chaotic like this.
There's something very Shakespearean about this tale. And I mean, just given your incredible body of work on stage doing Shakespeare stuff, do you find that all of that practice and experience that sets you in really good stead for all and any project you take from like here on? Do you find yourself relating characters and scenes to Shakespeare?
No, not necessarily two characters, but there are always analogies that you know, if you're dealing with a father trying to control his family, you always think about, I always think about King Lear. If you're dealing with a younger person who's struggling with the decisions that their sprightly mum is making, or their really wayward father is making, I do think about Hamlet and that generation thing. But to the big deal is the heightened emotion. Because most dramas, they might warm you up into something that's like a big crescendo, whereas this starts like, so it's very Shakespearean in that, and classical European drama in that it starts off with a big disaster that normal people get caught up in, and big players, you know, big kings and queens and big leaders are sort of doing things that are affecting the smaller people, if you like. That's what this is. This feels like Tchéky's character is a king. The tailor is the king of his kingdom, and his main knight is Craig Fairbrass's character, Guy. And then there is a feel that we have trespassed on this court, and now they're coming after us. So there is a sort of classical, you know, David and Goliath type struggle. And I suppose that is a bit Shakespearean in some ways.
So just very quickly before I do go, my final thing, because this is based on memory. I haven't been able to double check this, but it just came into my head. But I remember years ago, I was quite young, and I watched a great show where you did Shakespeare with young kids at school, or kind of at a youth club. And I just wanted to know, because I found it so inspiring and brilliant when I saw it on the telly. Did you keep in touch with any of those kids? And do you know if any of them went on to do anything creative at all, like acting?
Now you're asking, Stefan. No, this is the joy of my life. I was asked to direct a Shakespeare play in a place I grew up, and this was so many years ago, it's like 2002, and I was so frightened about the project that I chose the least likely place and the least likely plays, Harlesden, Northwest London, and Romeo and Juliet. And now I know that documentaries work on Jeopardy. They immediately went, yes, that sounds like a great idea. But the journey I went on with those 18 people between the ages of 18 and 52 will never be forgotten. And we're doing a reunion. So, God, my son is 20 now. He was about 18 months when it came out. We're doing a 20-year reunion. 20 years ago, Stefan. Hang on, 20 years, must have been about 12.
I'm 35, so I would have been about 15 when I saw that. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I do keep in touch with them. Juliet is a doctor, and Romeo is an actor, became an actor. But we've sort of gathered at least about 8 or 9 of us. We're going to all meet up.
Oh wow, that's fantastic! Well, I loved it. Well, I'm from like Kilburn way, so it all felt very local. Yeah.
Okay. Whereabouts are you in Kilburn?
Well, now I live in Tottenham, but I grew up near Kilburn Park Lane, on that way, Sholam Road.
Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah, I'm up in Cricklewood on Olive Road near Gladstone Park.
Oh yeah. I lived there for about 5 years recently, and I've just moved out. I've just bought a house in Tottenham, so but my mum and dad are still there, so I go back.
All right, okay.
Anyway,
being a traitor to North Wheezy,
yeah,
being a traitor to the Northwest, we're going to Tottenham way, country.
Yeah.
Very nice to talk to you, though.
Yeah, really nice to meet you too. Best luck with the release of the show. I'll speak to you soon, hopefully. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys!
Hey!